Coming up on this week's episode of And Now We're Haunted.
Hi, Jay.
Oh, you know what? I'm doing well, thanks. I wonder what it would be like to crack a human skull.
I never did anything like that. My brother bit my nose once because I was laying on the couch. I think I was 7 or 8.
You know who else bit noses? Danny McBride, and This Is the End.
Nom 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 nom, David. Nom nom, David.
Yum.
It's very weird.
Isn't that just like, that's creepy? That kind of
Who doesn't want
struck a chord with
sparkly ashes?
me. Right?
I think if I were to go into surgery and handed Lily a vial of gold glitter and be like, I want to be cremated with this in case there's an accident, she'd be like, the fuck is this? So you mean to tell me all I have to do is confess to a murder that
You may or may not have
may
done.
or may not have committed to get a business seat? I am sick
If
of
you were
flying
in another
Spirit.
country.
I'm sick of flying Spirit Airlines. Like, come on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second half of our Christmas special on JonBenet Ramsey. I am your co-host, Jake, joined by Steve, Meg, and Lily today.
And the actual host is
I'm
Lily.
the actual lead host, though.
They are. I am just the administrative bitch.
That's correct.
I don't even know what I am. The annoyed guy that ran to your house this morning.
Yeah, for those of you listening,
Let's talk
Steve
about that.
decided that,
He's a runner. I think this is important.
yeah, he's a runner and
Aspiring
like,
runner.
the worst kind of people. But he showed up at our front door this morning at like 8:30 in the morning after running 11 miles.
Well, it's important to notate that Jay and I slept in this morning until about 8:30, and we woke up to a text from both Meg and Steve, and we got going throughout our morning, getting dressed, getting ready to come and record, and we asked Steve if he went for a run, and he sent us a selfie in front of our house.
Mhm.
But before that, I think it's important to notate that he refused to tell us why he kept asking if we had left our house yet.
Well, the original plan was...
Did you not see their car?
He did.
No. I
He
did.
did.
I did.
Okay.
It was all
So he knew we were full
an
of shit.
extravaganza. Yeah, so when they're like, oh, we're already almost there, I'm like, no, you're not.
I did see all these messages.
But the original plan was your car was locked. So yes, I did try to rifle through your car. I was going to be sitting in the driver's seat and just start honking the horn like an annoyed
Okay,
person.
so here's the funny part. If you
I'm
would have,
so glad you didn't
if you
do
would
that.
have done that, Lily and I would have looked at each other and been like, "Oh, that's just the neighbor across the way who gave their kid their keys to the Lexus again."
Yeah.
'Cause
Our
it
neighbor
happens-
does
Of
that
course.
all the time.
And a nice car, too.
It happens
Yeah.
like
Not a
every
Ford.
night. It happens every night. The alarm just goes off, and we're like, "Oh, the kid got the keys again."
Although sometimes it's getting annoying, and we're just like, it's that effing Lexus.
You know, speaking of interesting neighbors, you guys, we've got to tell the story of we were over at your place, and Jay and Lily have Ring cameras,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they had a strange recording. And originally, we were thinking we were going to be hosting
Oh, yeah.
an episode on the creepy child.
The
that kept-
creepy
Oh my
8-year-old.
gosh, I
that kept
forgot about this
appearing.
kid.
So this kid kept showing up at their back door, which is under their porch, on just
Yeah, we have
really
like
out of the way.
We have a walkout basement.
Yeah, and you would see this kid in the Ring camera every night for what, a week?
Yeah.
He would
Yeah, 'cause you
walk
guys were
over.
getting
Sporadic
pretty
times,
concerned.
too. Yeah.
He would walk over to their house, look at something, look like he was looking in their window, and then walk away.
And this isn't
But not
like,
only that, he looked like he was talking to someone too,
Yeah.
Yes.
off camera.
Yes.
and it was like between 11:30 at night and like 2 in the morning. We're like, what is this 8-year-old kid just like peering in our house for?
God.
So me being the neurotic person I am is like, this kid's case in the joint for some
but
gang.
I thought the same
We almost
thing.
called the police.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah,
it
we
looked
were
like he was
getting ready to
scouting.
that night.
Well, it turns out he was he was their neighbor, so I'm not totally sure how Jay
Still,
and Lily didn't
it was-
recognize their
It
neighbor's
was a new
child.
neighbor. We
No, it
had
was-
not met them before.
Okay.
She had just moved into our neighbor's like in-law suite in the bottom of their townhouse, and she was outside smoking.
Yeah.
And he would come out and look for slugs.
Yeah. So
As 8-year-olds do
but-
between 11 and 2 a.m.
But Jay and I
Ugh.
solved this
It's
by
perfect slug hunting time.
we walked outside and saw her smoking, and we're like, "Have you seen a kid like We've got him
Casing the
on
joint.
camera. Like, we're worried about like possibly trying to break in. And she's like, oh yeah, that's my son. He's looking at slugs. I'm so sorry.
I think we've seen
So-
Home Alone too many times.
Yeah.
That's
So
the problem.
basically, the moral of the story is Steve and I solved our first crime.
We did. We did.
Hey, I would just like to say that Lily and I were in on the investigation. We were just not able to solve it.
We got.
Yeah.
We literally felt like the wet bandits because we were getting stumped by an 8-year-old kid.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
god.
That was fun.
Oh,
That was,
it was good
Yeah.
times.
I'm glad I just
Tea.
remembered that.
I
It's
Sticky Bandits. Oh, great movie.
Speaking of Christmas time, we're coming up on the close of our game, My Tree.
Oh, man.
Oh, how's this going, you guys?
Bill, how's
we
that
should
going?
explain what My Tree is
Yes.
because
Okay.
nobody knows what this
Okay,
game
so-
is.
I'll let you go ahead. You go ahead and tell this game.
So our friends play something called My Cow. And so when they go on long road trips, if they see a cow, the first one to call it gets a point for that cow. So we converted that for the Christmas season to My Tree.
Love it.
Yeah, we love it too. And it is for cars that have a fresh tree on top. So people go to buy their tree, they put it on top of their car, they go home.
Quick question. If someone's bringing, say, a palm tree home, does that count?
No.
What if you're in Hawaii?
Well, I
Well,
guess
we're not.
I'm just saying, you have to think of like all the variables.
Case solved.
Yes, here in Maryland, we will see palm trees on top of
You
cars.
never know.
I would honestly,
That should
I'm
be
gonna
bonus
say it
points.
here. Yeah, if we see a palm tree on top of a
Bonus.
car during My Tree season, it should be 100 points.
It's
Game
like
over.
catching
Win.
the golden stitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snitch.
Snitch. Sorry.
Stitch? No, wrong one.
Do
You
this-
can all fuck off.
Can you do your Stitch voice? Say golden snitch and
Golden
snitch.
Oh boy. I hate that. I hate that sound.
I hate it too.
I do.
In the pool, it's nice and cool.
So juicy.
And we married these
You
fools.
did. You did.
Is
Gosh,
this
you're awful.
Gollum?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that is terrible. So yeah.
I'm
So
done.
how's the
I'm
game
gonna go
going now?
home. Jay's kicking my ass.
Is
Really?
he?
I'm winning like by 5.
You guys
Yeah.
even have a trophy for the winner.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
so
made a trophy this
We
year.
have a trophy, and we
It's a
also
Dundee.
have we also have a commission to adjudicate questions,
Yeah.
and we also have ground rules like you can't call a tree if it's parked. The car has to be in motion.
And your
I
car
was gonna
has to
say,
be in
how's that
motion
true
too,
get
correct?
passed?
Yes,
Yep.
both cars have to be in motion.
There has to be a distinct game on or a pause in case somebody's taking a phone call or reading something. There's a
those
pause.
those were established this year.
Yep.
This is, I think, our like fourth year,
4th year.
doing it. It's gotten very, very competitive.
There's been a few what we like to call domestics
serious domestics
Caused
I
by my
swear.
tree.
caused by my
I think
tree.
it was day one this season where we were both just like,
We were on
I'm
the
not
verge of
playing
being like,
anymore.
not
We're
doing
done.
it. We're
Yeah,
We're not
I
doing it this
I
year.
remember you calling me and being like very upset about my tree and how it was going.
Yeah.
Next year, I think I'm going to get you for Christmas a leather-bound set of rules for my tree.
Oh my god.
That would
I'm
be
gonna-
amazing.
I might.
That would be a family heirloom.
I
Yeah, it would.
legitimately might, and then I will have blank pages where you can add in house rules. To
More
the game.
rules.
Yes. So what I want to do with our new trophy, which is a Dundee, and then we super glued like a Christmas tree to the back of it.
Nice.
I want it to be like a Stanley Cup, and each year I just want to get like the new engraving of the year and who won, and then each year it'll just grow. It'll get taller, like a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
I can't wait. You know, when we do have kids, if we have kids,
I was gonna
big
say.
if we have kids, like 20 years down the road, even if they're like 5 or 6, we'll be like, yeah, no, we're not like taking it easy on our kids. Like,
No, you're going to be ruthless.
we'll be
Yeah.
ruthless.
Absolutely.
Maybe
They
we-
have
Dude,
to-
I'm going to be that way with B about it.
And then I'll
Yeah.
probably be the jackass that'll make a little trophy that just says you're a loser and just like hand it out.
just give them a participation medal.
trophy.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe
maybe step up your game next year, son.
maybe next year we get a for that rule book, we get an official and now we're haunted My Trees game rule book
Oh my gosh.
with the logo and everything.
That would be
Can we
cool.
do
Yeah,
loser
let's do
trophies
that.
too?
For
And
sure.
alienate every suburban mom.
We'll send it
Absolutely.
out to, we do Patreon
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
We'll send it out to our Patreoners like mid-November so
would be
everybody
a
can
cool
be
thing.
ready.
I like that you called them Patreoners and not just patrons.
Patreoners.
Do they have the honors?
Yeah, they would have the honors.
There are patrioters.
otters. Oh my god.
They're our otter clan.
Do you know that otters hold hands so they don't
I
lose each
did.
other?
Yes, it's
Did
so
you know that-
precious. I love it.
Can I have that bottle of wine, please?
Which one?
The
This
one
one?
that's already open.
Yes.
Chug it. Chug it right now.
Please don't.
Oh my gosh. At the beginning of COVID, we got these cheap bottles of wine. I think they were $3 a bottle.
Oh, it's called Winking Owl. From
Highly recommended. Fantastic.
Literally $3 a bottle and some of the best tasting wine I've
You
had.
can't get them in
Love
Maryland.
that.
We had to get it from West Virginia. We
Oh,
would go
wow.
and buy boxes of them.
That's annoying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we got to hear banjo music.
That's always a plus.
So
Well,
Jay
we all
would
know
just
how Lily
pop it
feels
open.
about West Virginia and the boonies.
Speaking of West Virginia, today is part 2 of JonBenet Ramsey.
Well, yeah. Actually,
For those of us listening, that it didn't actually happen in West Virginia.
this is true. But you know what did happen
Well-
in West Virginia?
Patsy Ramsey became Miss West Virginia.
yeah, she did.
What did happen in West Virginia is our first episode at the Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Jay just
And
popped open his bottle of wine. He's
yeah.
very happy.
So we have a shout out for Emily. I'm going to withhold last name just
Woo,
because
woo,
I didn't.
Emily.
Just because I didn't get permission to use it.
Emily!
My voice doesn't go.
It's like
that-
Pitch
well, it
Perfect
does, but-
too.
Oh yeah, wasn't that name Emily too?
Yeah,
Also,
just like Pitch Perfect. Oh,
So,
my God.
Emily
What a movie.
It is
reached out
great.
to us on Instagram and let us know about the platform called Stitcher. We had no idea what this was, being as technologically impaired as we all are. And
Says
so
the
yeah,
podcasters.
yeah, right. Well, we're actually recording into cups with string.
That telephone game.
Yeah.
Which tells you a lot about how good our editor is.
Yeah.
So we're now on Stitcher. So thank you, Emily, for that suggestion. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Emily.
Thanks,
Emily.
Emily.
All right.
She's going to hate us.
Right.
She's gonna love it. Maybe.
would.
I don't know.
I mean,
But also, like, kind of as a general statement, the podcasting community and the paranormal investigations community has been really supportive.
Everybody-
they
Everybody's
have.
fantastic.
They've been really
Yeah.
great. It's been cool to interact with people and get to
Even
know
though it's a
them.
competitive market, like, everybody's willing to help everybody. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Didn't know.
Well,
We
I
all
think that
should.
wraps it up for our little administrative and
Oh, and
Kinda
since this is
early
being
episode.
What a
released
week.
on Christmas Day, to all our listeners who do download this and take a listen,
Merry
Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
yeah,
And happy holidays.
yeah.
and Happy Hanukkah and Merry Kwanzaa and so on and so forth.
I think holidays encompasses
Oh,
it.
okay.
Happy Christmas, Harry.
All right. So with that,
I love to
we're,
say Happy Christmas
Me
because
too.
of Harry Potter.
It's one of my favorite things. Yeah.
With that, we're going to
Thanks,
hand it
J.K.
over
Rowling.
to co-host Meg and Lily.
Yeah, so let's
What
hop
you got
back
for
in.
us?
Do we want to do a quick recap of last week, what we talked about? So,
Hey, Steve, why don't you go ahead and recap it? I'm a little drunk.
okay. All right. So, as the resident child who doesn't actually know much about the case, I learned a lot last week.
Fuck you.
So,
Oh boy.
I did learn a lot last week for the JonBenet Ramsey case. And a couple of corrections. I don't have specific corrections. I just want to mention that there may be confusion. JonBenet's body was found on the day after Christmas,
Right.
the morning of the 26th.
That was my
Correct.
bad, guys. Sorry.
Um,
Oh, did you say the 25th?
I said Christmas morning.
Yeah. It's okay. I mean, c'est la vie. But her body was found the morning of the 26th. So all of the events happened
Mhm.
the night prior.
Correct.
There is some confusion as to exactly what happened, which is the whole reason for us doing this episode. But
Mm-hmm.
the facts are her body was found in the basement, covered in a white sheet on Christmas morning. A ransom note.
Not Christmas morning.
See, I just did it too.
See, it's really hard to do.
The day after Christmas.
So a ransom note was found prior to her body being discovered. It was found on a staircase in the back of the house.
Right.
Mhm.
Correct.
The police were called over, and the body wasn't discovered for a few hours after the police were called over, correct? It was 5 or 6 hours, and then...
Right.
Yes, they waited until that like time slot on the ransom note.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it was like 10 a.m. And after that, the police started to leave. And John was tasked with going and just searching
Searching
for
for
anomaly.
So another thing that was mentioned, the basement room which JonBenet was found in had a broken window. However, this was not discovered or mentioned until later in the day. I don't believe it was discovered the moment that the body was found.
Correct.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because it was John had said something about in passing, like, "Oh, I got locked out of the house, so I broke it
Right.
to get in."
Right.
Mhm.
So that's just a little bit. And then we examined the possible suspects, the main
One of
two.
many.
Yeah.
Or-
So first is the mother, Patsy
You
Ramsey,
got it.
who was...
That's a hard name to say.
It is.
Patsy Ramsey?
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know.
Okay. I guess
Say
for
it 10
me,
times fast. Someone do it.
I'd rather
Patsy
not.
Ramsey,
Patsy
Patsy Ramsey,
Ramsey,
Patsy
Patsy
Ramsey,
Ramsey,
Patsy
Patsy
Ramsey. I can't do it. I got to 4.
All right.
Nice.
So she was apparently awake most, if not all, of the night. She claims that she put her clothes in the bathtub and then put them back on the next day. She was wearing the same clothes she had
Very
been
rich
wearing
lady
the
that
night
does
Very
prior.
that.
weird. Yeah.
It is.
Do you guys come home, take your clothes off, and just, I don't know, throw them in the bathtub?
No.
No.
Not usually.
Wow.
No, I don't
No.
think I've ever done that in my 25 years of being alive.
Yeah,
Plus
we
a
don't
few
really
more.
just throw them on the
Meg
floor.
lies about her age, by the way.
I've slept in the bathtub.
Have you?
Yeah.
Were you drunk?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I've never
does.
slept in a bathtub.
Me neither.
It's so easy when you throw up on yourself.
I
You
slept
just
on a
shower it off.
I slept on a bathroom floor once.
Who hasn't?
Oh,
Meg?
yeah.
It's nothing special.
Yeah.
Come on.
So she was apparently awake most, if not all, of the night. JonBenet was found to have pineapple in her stomach at the time of the autopsy. There was a dish of pineapple on the kitchen counter that had, I believe it was Burke's and Patsy Ramsey's fingerprints on it.
You got it.
And
Good
then-
recall.
Thank you. I'm doing this sans notes, by the way. So
Good for you, Ben.
Sans
Yeah, he's doing a
means
good
without.
job.
it does. Thank you. Thesaurus.
We're cutting Jay off.
No more.
So the other possible suspect is Burke. Now, I've ignored kind of how much media talk or police talk,
Mhm.
whatever. That's all. You can go back and listen to it. I don't want to do a full rehash. Burke was the older brother of
He
JonBenet,
was 9.
Mhm.
and he had a history that is documented of a little bit of aggression.
Mhm.
You hit
in
his
a
sister
lo-
in the face with a golf club. That's a lot of aggression.
Well, you know.
We don't all do that.
eh.
We'll call
Oh.
it
I mean, I hit my
microaggression.
sister in the face with a trash bag once. I got
I
in a
hung my
lot of
sister-
trouble.
Was it an empty trash bag? Because that's not really anything.
No, we were cleaning our room and I had like a bag of trash and she made me
Oh.
mad and I swung it across her
I'm just
face.
picturing her gently
And then my
wisping
mom-
a...
My
I-
mom made me take care of my sister the rest of the day. and I
Guys.
still feel bad.
When my sister was younger, she was little, and I used to hang her on doorknobs by her underwear.
Oh, okay.
My sister used to chase me with knives and I locked myself in the bathroom because I felt that was the safe place to stay alive for at least 3 days. There was water.
Sup, Hillary?
We should also notate, though, for our listeners, that you made your sister believe her name was Jennifer,
Oh.
and she was adopted for 3 years?
Oh my god, that's the
Yeah,
best.
sometimes I still mail her birthday cards and address them to Jennifer.
Oh my god.
No, this is legitimate. Her mom has told me she believed it for
That's
3
awesome.
years.
I told my sister that she shouldn't go and confirm it with my mom because my mom wasn't ready to talk about her adoption yet.
You are devious.
Wow. You and Hillary are like 2 peas in a pod.
I never did anything like that. My brother bit my nose once because I was laying on the couch. I think I was 7 or 8.
You know who else bit noses? Danny McBride, and This Is the End.
Nom 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 nom, David.
Nom
Yeah.
nom, David.
Well, back to the recap.
Yum.
So Burke had a history of aggression, and he acted very strangely. And there's just a lot of, all the way from childhood up through his much maligned Dr. Phil interview.
Yeah,
You know,
this
we
guy.
should've
that
looked
was
at-
weird.
Does anybody know, or can we look it up real quick? Has Burke ever been diagnosed as on the spectrum?
No.
No, he is
No,
not.
he's not.
Head
Interesting.
over to our Instagram. I don't know if it was posted on our Facebook, but there are videos of Burke being questioned by investigators and Dr. Phil.
And with that, that's a pretty
That's
good
about
wrap
where
up.
we
I
That's
think.
about where we
Wrapped
left
up,
So
off.
yeah.
today's plan is to examine some of the other theories as to what happened, because
Hell yeah, pants.
some of the evidence does not line up with either of those two suspects.
No.
It's wild.
It is crazy because
Bum, bum,
it
bum,
has
bum.
blown my mind how different theories all work.
Yeah, they do. Like, you listen to one, you're like, that could have definitely happened. But you hear another and you're like, maybe
That tracks
happened.
too. Yeah.
It's like a meme I saw a couple of days ago on Instagram. It was like, I have solved the JonBenet case 600 times in my brain.
different ways.
Different
all
ways,
different ways.
every
It's
time.
Incredible.
That's a very true meme.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is. It's very true. All right, so kicking off then, I guess. So nobody was charged. Nobody was charged.
To this
Fair.
day.
Yeah, to this day, nobody has been charged. After Patsy Ramsey called the police, she had called all of her friends, presumably for support. However, there were so many people in and out of the house all day it just wrecked the crime scene. There was zero control over the crime scene.
A lot of contamination.
Boulder PD really effed that one away.
Yeah,
they
well,
did.
a retired sergeant from the case actually regrets not removing people and calls it the biggest lapse of judgment in his career, which is like,
Very
obviously,
true statement.
obviously.
Well, I hope it's the biggest. If there's something worse, then I don't.
There probably, I mean, there could be.
Little do we know he was on the Golden State Killer case too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, for instance, the kitchen was not zoned off at all. And that's where the bowl of pineapple was. That's where the ransom note was found.
A flashlight that could have potentially been a weapon.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, the
Mhm.
90s, man. Perfect time to commit a crime.
But it's also one of those, like, the question has to be raised, why did Patsy call so many people over, like, hey, I know my daughter's dead body is, like, in the basement, but, like, can you guys come over?
That's
I mean,
the thing, though.
I think
like,
I'd
she
probably
wanted...
call you guys and be
Yeah.
like, support us.
That's
Yeah.
the thing is, like, you don't know what's going to happen. Like, I feel like I would be very irrational.
Right.
I would be
Yeah.
like, Mom, you need to fly out here right now.
Yeah.
That's pretty par for the course.
Another big mistake was that the police never should have left just Linda Arndt, the detective, alone with the family after the phone call never came from the ransom note. Because she also allowed John to just walk around the house and contaminate evidence.
Everything.
And what a goof.
And she, like, the thing was, too, she didn't even go with him. A family friend went
Right.
with him, which,
Right.
again, very odd.
Because anybody trained to, if they had been with him when the body was found, they would have said, do
Don't
not touch that
it.
body.
Yeah.
But alas, he did, and they were not with him.
Mm-mm.
Their fault.
He carried it up to the...
Oh, they did a lot of moving of her body.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
He carried
insane.
it up to the, like, the living room, I think, right?
Yeah.
To the living room, later on the floor, later on the sofa. Mom, Dad both held her.
To the window.
To the wall.
Wall.
So the sweat dropped down my balls.
That's a
All
really
these people
awkward
call-
situation.
Oh, we're not going there. Okay.
No.
December 26th,
I always,
1996.
right. I always think of Sandra Bullock. singing
Yes,
that
from the
song.
proposal.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
that's
See,
so
again,
great.
I'm going to
Hold on.
put that up
Hold
on
on.
the social.
You guys think of that. Meanwhile, I'm just thinking about Ryan Reynolds chopping that tree trunk into a canoe with no shirt on.
This is the 4th episode with Ryan
Right.
Reynolds mentioned. What's
Sheesh.
up, buddy?
Oh
Hey,
my
uh,
God.
we
You
love
should
you.
send us some gin.
I'd like to
Ooh,
go home and watch that by myself for a little while.
Wouldn't we all?
Jay needs some privacy.
It's
Gross.
getting warm down here.
So after this, the Boulder DA, not PA, not Pennsylvania, Boulder, Pennsylvania, in March 1997 called in a homicide detective named Lou Smith.
Yeah.
Yep. And he believed that the police missed really important information and evidence, and he went back to the crime scene. He went back through all the photos, the videos, and he had found evidence that there was a broken window in the basement that was never really followed up by the police.
He
So this was like 6 months later too that this
Yeah, so
happened.
this
He
was
was
in
hired as a-
March, so it was 4 months.
4 months. Okay.
he was hired as a PI, like a private investigator.
No,
capacity?
the Boulder DA hired an outside investigator. Not
Okay.
like it wasn't anything like clandestine.
Okay,
They knew that
he just
was
wasn't
just a
from
separate
that
investigator.
department.
Yeah, the Boulder. This kind of ties in later, but the Boulder DA knew something wonky was going on, but then they also seemed a little. There was some conspiracy behind the Boulder DA too, so
Yeah.
it just got weird. It was a weird
Gotcha,
case. The window in the basement, as a recap, was broken by John Ramsey,
Mhm.
but Lou Smith believed that there was more to that theory and wanted to follow up on it. He thought that someone could definitely fit into that window, whereas police had dismissed it and said there was no way someone could.
And
But-
it's been proven that someone could have fit through that window.
Well, and if John said that he broke it to get
That's-
inside,
That's what I was going to want.
Yeah.
why
then-
would the police say nobody can fit in that window?
Exactly. And he's
They're so dumb.
full grown man. Like,
What an idiot.
what an idiot.
And Smith was also the one responsible for finding the abrasions on JonBenet's back and on her face. The police department just said that they were abrasions, but Smith believed that these were actually from a stun gun. And the stun gun and the abrasions on her, I think it was her
Her
neck,
neck. They like fit.
they match up perfectly.
They match up. Yeah.
Which was
with
just
a very specific kind of stun gun, right?
yeah.
Yes.
The Ramseys claimed that they had never had a stun gun, and so Lou Smith just kind of found misstep after misstep after misstep. And after a full review of the case, Smith was convinced that there was an intruder in the house that killed JonBenet, and it was not an inside job. So Lou Smith's theory, he believed that on Christmas Day, the Ramseys got up, opened their gifts, enjoyed their day, and went back to their friend's house, the Whites.
Cue the sleigh bell background music.
Oh my god.
Ding, 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 ding.
Santa laughing in the background.
I don't think Santa would laugh at this.
It is
He
the
might.
26th.
Well, this is the 25th, so you could be laughing. Anyway, according to Smith, while the Ramseys were at their friend's house, he believed that an intruder snuck into their house and wrote the note then, while everybody was gone, which would make sense because
It was a
fucking idiot.
3-page note, too.
yeah, would come in, steal a daughter, write a 3-page note at like 2 a.m.
So
New theory, an academic.
but things were like spelled very wrong.
Not a new theory, probably not an academic.
So, yeah, so he believes that they broke in, wrote the note then, and then waited for the family to return
Just like hid in the basement.
and hid. Right. Which is, I would almost say, creepier.
The note's
Yeah,
coming
like
from
that is-
inside the house.
Like, that's creepy. And looking at this, you can think, like, maybe that did happen.
Yeah, right? So he suggests that the intruder then entered JonBenet's bedroom, stunned her, and then carried her into the basement.
The district attorney investigator guy's name is Lou Smith, right?
Lou Smith?
Is this the same Lou Smith of if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit? Lou Smith?
Oh my god.
Come on. Come on. I thought it was pretty clever.
Lou.
But I think that was one of my more clever ones.
It was, unfortunate.
I'm a little upset that I was able to come up with those.
Okay. So where were we?
Okay. To carry JonBenet out of the house, there was, theoretically, there was a plot to put the body in a blue suitcase that had been found in the basement. And then, when they realized that it would not fit through the window, they just strangled her because she wasn't dead. They just simply stunned her.
Plan.
Yep. And they had to change plans. And then left her in the basement window and, left her in the basement and they escaped through that window. Lou believed that the perpetrator was a sexual deviant, like a pedophile.
Pedophile.
A pedophile.
A pedometer.
I like the way the British say it much better.
Yeah, well, Jay thought that a pedometer was pronounced pedometer.
All right, we don't need to go into that. Keep going.
Like,
Shut up.
And I just stared at him a couple years ago and I was like, do you mean pedometer?
And I had the audacity to be like, no, pedometer.
well,
The chameleon.
to be fair, it
Chameleon.
is confusing considering the car has a speedometer.
I hate you guys so much right
You
now.
love us so much.
Okay, so anyway, he believed the perpetrator was a sexual deviant, like a pedophile,
Thank
due
you,
to
Lily.
the brutality of the killing. Lou believed also that JonBenet's status with pageants made her the perfect target, which I definitely
I
agree
don't
with.
disagree. Like, there's a lot of creepy people that go to pageants.
Yes. Like, aside from really, like, effed up parents, I mean, who else is going to go and see that? Other than, like, supportive family
I mean,
members who don't want to be
On
there.
the one hand, I get it because then you can grow up and like win a pageant and like win a scholarship to go to college or whatever. But it's a very
I just
odd
watched
thing.
Miss Congeniality, speaking of that.
Right.
How many students in college did you come across that was like, I'm here on a beauty pageant scholarship?
There's only one winner a year, Jay.
And apparently they're not from Colorado.
Oh, okay.
But like, but it's still weird to be like, I'm going to put my 5-year-old in a pageant.
I'm here on scholarship.
It's a scholarship program. Lou believes that JonBenet's status with pageants made her the perfect target. The spots of blood in JonBenet's underwear was a DNA result that did not implicate any other member of the Ramsey family, which obviously also pointed to an intruder.
And it was
And
male DNA that they found.
It was.
Not of the family, not of any of the family friends.
Absolutely. Yep. So the DNA implicated a male. And John, when he was being interviewed by the police, indicated a man named Bill McReynolds. And take it from there, Meg.
Alrighty. So Bill McReynolds was a family friend of the Ramseys. And he would come to the Christmas parties that Patsy hosted every year. And he would play Santa Claus. So I guess
Who doesn't?
right? So I guess when Bill went to the memorial service, he refused to hug Patsy And they just felt that he was really, really off, kind of weird, which I agree. If you're a family friend and you don't really like want to console your friend who just lost a daughter, little odd.
Mm-hmm.
And after JonBenet's death, he was really like almost desperate for attention. He went on the Today Show.
Yeah, I remember seeing a little clip about it.
Yeah, and it was we should put a clip up. It was a weird interview. John claimed that Bill and JonBenet had a very like odd bond. She took him on a tour of the house. She thought he was the real Santa. And
why would the parents let that happen?
I don't know. It's a little weird, but yeah. Apparently, like she gave him like a vial of like gold glitter, I guess.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, I just read this actually. She gave him like a little vial of gold glitter and was like, it was her present to Santa. Just a very sweet thing for a 6-year-old to do.
Yeah.
Very different than today's glitter bombs.
Yes.
I so want to send one of those.
And he kept that. And I guess like he went into surgery some years later and he gave the vial of glitter to his wife and asked if he were to die in surgery to please be cremated and mixed with the gold glitter given to him by JonBenet.
He just wanted to be fabulous wherever he ended up.
That's very weird.
Isn't that just like, that's creepy. That kind of
who doesn't want
struck a chord with
sparkly ashes?
Right.
I think if I were to go into surgery and handed Lily a vial of gold glitter and be like, I want to be cremated with this in case there's an accident, she'd be like, the fuck is this?
So one of the theories that like John like said he didn't believe that JonBenet would eat the pineapple that was found in her stomach from Christmas night. He thought she wouldn't eat it unless it was from someone she knew. And she very clearly knew Santa Bill. They were close. So, she wouldn't have like alerted her parents that Santa Bill was in the house and that like they were having a snack or something. And when investigators were searching JonBenet's room, they found a note that Santa Bill had given to JonBenet before her death. And it said, like, he had a special gift for her after Christmas, like, something very odd like that.
Something special will happen to you after Christmas.
Yeah, something special will happen to you after Christmas, which, like,
that's weird.
Weird thing.
It's like a fortune cookie.
Yeah.
But weirder.
And happen
and more
and happen
petalish.
to you. Yeah, happen to you, not like something will like happen for you or like you're gonna get something, but
yeah, it's weird.
That was really
very interesting choice of vocabulary.
Yeah. And a weird day.
So they looked into Bill's background. They discovered he had a daughter. Her daughter's friend had been kidnapped and she was molested. And the perpetrator was never found. And this happened 22 years to the date of JonBenet Ramsey's murder.
Really?
So, yeah. Also, Bill, his wife, she wrote a play about a girl that was tortured and murdered in her own basement.
What an odd coincidence.
Very eerily close to what happened to JonBenet. So.
I think it should be notated that this actually made it to publication. Like, I don't know, if I was writing a book about a girl murdered in the basement and then it actually happened, I'd be like, let's scratch that out. Let's see strangled in a parking lot.
Yeah, something, but it just too close to home. They thought that like he definitely had something to do with this. The police did, because just all these things kind of came together. He was brought in and interrogated, but his alibi checked out. Like he had an alibi for the night. They learned that he had heart surgeries and some other health problems, and he would have been too frail to carry her to the basement. So these heart surgeries, that was something that happened later on, and he asked to be cremated with that gold glitter.
It's just so weird.
They did take hair samples, blood samples, writing samples from him and his wife, but none of these matched up with any of the DNA found or the ransom note, so they were dropped as suspects.
You mean to tell me he was compliant with the police requests?
Because he wanted to know what happened to this little girl.
But not her parents?
Not
That's
her
so
parents.
Weird.
Not
Maybe
her parents.
We're going to take a quick break because I think we all need a stiff drink
I need
after
some cheese.
these. Yeah.
we need a good stiffy.
Drink.
Good.
Gross. Stiff drinks and cheese, and we'll be back after this quick break.
Cup of murder.
Ever wonder what terrible thing happened on this day in true crime history? My name is Karina B. Mustafer, writer and host of Morning Cup of Murder, your daily true crime podcast that dives into what murder took place on today's date in history. With over 500 episodes about serial killers, murderers, cults, and cold cases, there is always something new for you to enjoy. Morning Cup of Murder is the perfect addition to your morning routine. So if you like your coffee hot but your bones chilled, start your day with a Morning Cup of Murder. Subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere else you listen, and come say hi on social media at Morning Cup of Murder. Oh, and remember, stay safe.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Drinks were not as stiff as I would have liked, but hopefully they'll get
Wasn't
me further.
as stiff. Wasn't a big stiffy.
Right.
Wait, where'd you get root beer?
Upstairs.
All right.
Your mother's butt.
Do you want my root beer, Jay?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Look at Meg taking one for the team.
I don't really like it.
Okay.
Well, you know what I don't like?
Sugar free.
Yeah.
I don't like this next theory about JBR's
Yes, there
killer.
are lots of theories with this JonBenet Ramsey case, and this next one, a little weird. Actually, in 2000, so 4 years later, this was December 2000,
Mm-hmm.
Boulder police received a call from the University of Colorado, their police department, who had arrested a 38-year-old guy named Gary Olivia for trespassing, and he had some odd things in his backpack.
Can you believe that that was 20 years ago?
Let's not talk about that.
Did he have
Don't like
Legos?
talking about that.
Did he have Legos?
Legos.
I don't know. She said interesting things, and I'm wondering if it's Legos.
Again, that word interesting.
You did say it again.
I did.
We're gonna have a hashtag interesting counter.
Hashtag interesting.
I have made great effort to not use that one time.
Good for you, Will.
Interesting.
So in Gary's backpack, they found a poem about JonBenet, a stun gun, and he had a photo of her as well.
Isn't that weird to have a poem about a dead 6-year-old from 4 years
yeah,
ago?
4 years
ago.
ago. Like,
That's weird.
that's creepy is what that is.
I mean, anytime, even if it was like
Even if
back
it
in
was like,
'96,
Ever.
but that's
Yeah,
it's
that'd still be
just really
weird.
weird. Okay, I
So-
think that's worth establishing.
Yeah. It was weird. Gary was a paranoid schizophrenic.
Nice.
He was homeless, and at the time, he spent a lot of time in the church in Oregon. I'm going to rewind that for a minute because I just... So Gary was a paranoid schizophrenic. He was homeless, and at the time, he spent a lot of time at the church, the street just down from the Ramsey's house. So he's very
Mhm,
close to
yeah.
them. So again, would have seen JonBenet, had that connection to her. He had been arrested before and was convicted of child sex offender in the state of Oregon for molesting a young girl. He did do time in prison for trying to strangle his mother with a telephone cord.
As they do.
That's, again, creepy.
Yeah.
Imagine having a cord for your telephone.
In 2000.
And he was back
Yeah.
on the
Yes.
street. So sure, let's put somebody away for life for having a little dime bag of weed.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right? That's
A
Come
dime
on.
bag of weed.
Meanwhile, people like Methany and this guy get out.
How much do you think would go in a dime bag of weed? Like
About a dime's
gram?
worth.
About a dime's worth. Yeah. I concur.
But, all right, Meg. Do you think it would be about a gram?
I don't know.
I know nothing about weed. But
I don't know the currency
don't-
to weight conversion.
Ah,
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna say if I saw some weed, I would be like, wow, that's like a butt ton.
But
Or
Oh,
like,
you know what?
that's not a lot.
Fun fact though,
that is an actual.
it is.
Yeah.
The butt load
Mm-hmm.
is an actual measurement because
Really?
it is.
It is.
Because I don't remember which country it was, but wine
Yeah.
actually used to be put into large casks, and I think the casks themselves were called butts, right? Or
I
it
don't
was
remember.
like
Jay and I were reading about it not too long ago. And we were
Anywho,
like, oh, great.
if you ever say a buttload, just know it is
It
a
exists.
metric
Yeah.
buttload and not an imperial measurement.
The more you know. It's
The
like
more you
that
know.
SpongeBob meme.
Imagination. The more you know.
The more you know.
All right.
Okay, and moving on.
Yeah, so back to this story. They went through some evidence after Gary was arrested, and they did see that he was at a candlelight vigil held for JonBenet after her murder.
Yeah, they found him on
They
camera.
found him on camera, yes. And so one thing to note is a lot of people who commit these kind of crimes, these murders, they like to go back to the scene of the crime. It's kind of like a rush for them. It gives them like a second, I don't know. What's another word for rush? Because I keep saying interesting. I don't want to say that.
Interesting.
Interesting. But you know, like it gives them a little boost of like what happened that night. So
it's just like when people take something from the scene of the crime when they leave.
yeah.
Crime scene of the crime.
So Gary did admit that he had an obsession, and that's the word he used, an obsession with JonBenet. He had dreams about her after her death. He had a shrine devoted to her. So
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Super weird, you guys.
As you say this, all I can think about is like, Hey Arnold and like the Helga Pataki.
Oh my god.
Bubblegum
shrine.
head.
Yeah.
Talk about a
Okay, but
throwback
wait for this.
question. Is Hey Arnold older than 2000?
Yeah.
Is it?
Mhm.
So that shrine was before this. Sorry, I don't know.
Maybe that's where you got the idea.
He
guy
was Boulder's Helga Pataki.
The guy who created Hey Arnold is from my hometown. He went to my high school.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
There's a blurb about him in one of my yearbooks.
Well,
I wonder if he had a crush on you.
No, he's older than me. He graduated with like my brother or something.
Oh.
Well, you did say Steve is the first younger.
He is.
boy.
Stephen the younger.
So he had a shrine.
He had a shrine.
Thanks,
He
Will.
even put JonBenet's face on Monopoly money. So, like, he
Who
didn't have
doesn't love a good JonBenet
That's
a
currency?
JonBenet themed Monopoly? He said he would never hurt JonBenet because he loved her too much. He said he was given the stun gun for his own protection, but police didn't buy this. They thought that like he was the one who hurt JonBenet, that he killed her. He did submit himself to all the samples, you know, the DNA, the
Mhm.
hair, the handwriting, all of that stuff. But he was not a match to any of those. So police did have to let him go. Fast forward to 2016. He was arrested again for child pornography possession.
What a guy.
What a guy.
Stand up
But-
tall.
If nothing else, he was consistent.
Oh,
And
God.
consistency is key.
Yeah,
I guess,
what a guy.
no matter the field.
Stand up dude. It only took him 16 years. Okay, so the next theory here is a fellow named Mike Helga. After JonBenet's death, I think it must have been about a year later, give or take. I don't have a date written down. But his body was found, and it was established that this man committed suicide. However, after Mike died, his friend, John Kennedy, started making connections to Mike and JonBenet's death. He remembered a conversation that he had had with Mike and said that, quote, he and a partner were going to make a quick 50 to 60K each right around Christmas time that year.
Oh, what an odd amount. What does
Just a quick 50 to 60K.
times 2 add up to?
$120,000. Isn't that so weird?
No, so weird.
It would have been weirder if he had said 59K.
Right?
Right.
59.
But I think, you know,
We'll
maybe
make
that's why he
59.5.
said like the 50 to 60. So
Yeah.
he wasn't like, oh, yeah.
But
here's me.
right after Christmas of 1996, Mike said that he just fell apart. Or John said that Mike just fell apart.
Okay.
Mike also had a really bad pattern of behavior towards torturing animals.
You call that a bad pattern? I call that like a evil satanic thing to do to an animal.
I didn't know where you were going in that for a second. I was like,
Oh, you think that's bad?
whoa.
I was trying to think of
Right.
like worse words.
Yeah, it's a horrible
I
pattern.
call that a proceeds to not know what to call
I
it.
think it's an interesting pattern.
It's really, really interesting, you guys.
Something that should be studied.
So he had a pattern of behavior towards torturing animals, shooting kittens, and breaking their necks.
Oh my gosh. That's
Like, I'm not a
awful.
cat person, but
I
that's
know.
a
That's
lot.
pretty
I
fucked
don't
up.
like- have you guys seen Don't Fuck with Cats?
Yes.
Yes.
Watch. No. I tell you to watch it.
Ah, too late.
I love that show.
Anyway,
You okay over there, Meg?
I'm fine.
Okay, I didn't know if you were going to start like streaming tears or something.
So-
You never know with me.
I don't.
I have a lot of post-baby hormones in this body.
Yes, ma'am.
Continue.
at times, Mike inquired out loud to his friend John, wondering what it felt like to crack a human skull.
So
Like-
how did this conversation go? Like, Steve, like, just like say hi to me, like say hi.
Hi, Jay.
Oh, you know what? I'm doing well, thanks. I wonder what it would be like to crack a human skull.
I'm calling 911 now.
Well,
Yeah.
the crazy thing
That's
is,
how that should have gone.
Exactly.
So the crazy thing is, though, now I'm a little bit wondering.
So,
Let's get eggs.
It's like a Ferrero Rocher chocolate ball.
okay, so Mike also had a record of sexual assault of a child.
What is with all these pedophiles?
Yeah, he was found once upon a time naked under the sheets with his girlfriend's younger daughter. Yeah, and he was cited as saying he, quote, couldn't help himself around
They were
her.
just playing
What is
doctor.
wrong with people?
They were just playing doctor.
It's real life operation. I hated everything about that. So, John Kennedy did end up calling the police with his theory about Mike. And once again, if you can believe it, the Boulder police dismissed this.
What is?
Talk about a pattern.
I am never moving to
Bad
Boulder.
pattern.
Like
a bad
ever.
pattern.
Bad pattern of behavior there.
Yeah, it's just all of this is bad pattern. So, after reviewing Mike's crime scene photos, however, they found a stun gun near his body and a pair of boots like the ones that were worn outside of the Ramsey family home. Because
the high tech ones that like Lou Smith they found the footprints and
yeah,
determined they were
Lou Smith
high-tech
found
boots.
some footprints, and those footprints matched these boots. Well, not specifically, right? But they were very similar.
They were similar in
I'm
style.
more learning that the stun gun trade is apparently something I need to go into.
Right? I'm like, are
Honestly.
we the only people that don't own stun
Nah.
guns?
Nah.
Like us
Yes.
and the Ramseys?
The police did not find him to be a viable suspect, but Lou Smith, once again, believed that Mike and potentially a partner were the people responsible.
Good old Lou's following through on these
Yeah.
theories.
So Smith continued to study the case and was curious why Mike shot the bullet through a pillowcase to try to silence the shot.
Generally, that's why they do that.
Sure. But if you're committing suicide, who cares?
That's
yeah, I
true.
was gonna say, like, I see that more in like
But we all-
mafia movies.
Right.
But we also
well-
don't know if this guy was highly respectable. He was like, you know what? I don't want to disturb the neighbors, even though I'm living in the middle of a
No,
junkyard.
he was like living in a trashy trailer.
He was in the middle of a junkyard.
Yeah, not respectable.
Oh, okay.
So, anyway, Smith also realized that the bullet that killed Mike had come from the left, whereas Mike was right-handed, and it traveled in an upward direction, and it never exited the body. So some detectives took these findings and believed that it was actually a murder.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, I'm left-handed, and this right hand here just
You're a
for show.
monster.
Like, it can put mascara on, and that's all.
That's fair. So the belief was that John, his friend, was that Mike was murdered. And John believed that Mike was murdered by his partner that he was working with around Christmas time.
With the JonBenet thing.
And so for him, yeah, he connected that as the 50 to 60K. Each partner was going to be getting one, half of that.
Right.
And so the person that killed him was the partner of that crime. Okay. Everybody tracking?
Tracking.
I had to think on that one.
Steven is not.
Okay. So, Smith and his team believe that Mike was the killer of JonBenet, and there was a severe need for more evidence against him. They tested the boots, and allegedly the boots did not match, but they were tested by the Boulder police, and the Boulder police did not give any reason and only said that they did not match. So that obviously bothered the Boulder DA and Smith and his team because they were not given any
Yeah, like you'd have to be
further
like the
explanation.
size or the tracks or something.
Yeah.
There's
no answer.
dirt or nothing. Yeah,
Just
you have
no.
to give something.
Yeah.
In my brain,
I've seen Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
in my
and
brain,
CSI Miami.
he's our boots and cats suspect.
Boots and
Ah,
cats.
true.
He's our boots and cats guy.
He's the boots and cats guy.
Sounds like
Boots
we've got
and
a
cats
title
and
here.
Boots and cats.
Boots and cats.
Boots and cats.
The dog is
So-
freaking out.
Okay.
That's our title. Boots and cats.
Lou Smith, after this, ended up resigning from the DA's investigation because he feared at this point that he had some viable suspects. And he feared that the DA was going to convict John and Patsy Ramsey. And at that point, he couldn't take it. So he wanted no responsibility towards the conviction of John and Patsy.
He really didn't believe they did it. And he didn't want like
Mhm.
his job associated with a wrongful conviction.
So he wanted to distance himself with a conviction that he did not believe in. which, to be said, in August of 1998, the DA assembled a grand jury for this case. And in the court of public opinion, if you listen to our first episode, you'll know that John and Patsy were guilty. Everybody thought that John and Patsy did it or Burke did it. And based on that alone, they thought that that would sway the grand jury. So the grand jury examined 30,000 exhibits of evidence. That's significant.
That's so much stuff.
Yeah. They met for 13 months, and in October of 1999, they disbanded, and the DA said that they found no evidence to indict anyone in the case. The DA also stressed that the proceedings of the grand juries are secret and that he would never ever speak about it unless ordered by the court, and the DA has stuck to that to this day.
That's just so odd to me because, like, this is a case that not only, like, Boulder wants solved, the whole country wants this solved.
Yeah.
Like, still, it's 2020 and people are still just mesmerized by this case.
Well, and I don't know if we mention it later on in the notes because I know a big chunk of it is one last theory, but it was actually released maybe about 10 years ago that the Boulder DA they were indicted. John and Patsy were indicted for several reasons.
Yes, they were.
But the DA decided not to do anything with it. So there were huge conspiracies.
And he said that it was a political decision
Mm-hmm.
to not indict the Ramsey family, which...
because they're rich and, why would you prosecute anybody with money?
Oh my God.
So it was very interesting. You know, there's several that are really weird.
There are.
The next theory Meg is getting ready to do, right, Meg? Are you ready?
Like, is this it?
It says Daxus at the top.
Daxus? That's the John.
Yeah, that was his code name.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
So we'll go through Daxus, and then I think at the end we should all kind of give our own individual
What
thoughts.
we think happened.
Yeah, everybody down with that? Because I've got
a couple.
You've got one.
Okay, I do have one.
You and your
lists.
lists.
I need 5.
That's actually
You,
7.
Yeah, fuck you, dude. No.
Shut up, you guys.
Make
I
a
love
decision.
Christmas movies. No, I have my theory of what I think.
Yeah, me
really
too.
happened.
And you have one.
Okay, I have my one.
Okay.
Go.
All right, what's this one?
So this one is the theory of John Mark Carr. So
Daxus.
Titled Daxus because that was a code name, I guess.
Yeah.
This is the one that includes Thailand, right?
Yes.
Yes. Thailand. Oh, I'd love to go there.
Same, buddy.
Soon, buddy.
Soon. Open up, world. Okay. So, at the University of Colorado in Boulder, a journalism professor received a weird ass email. I just want to put that in because that's what Lily gave me. It was a weird ass email from someone named Daxus. Daxus wanted to get to Patsy Ramsey, so he emails Michael Tracy a very weird poem and asks Michael to read it to the Ramsey family.
And who is Michael Tracy?
He is the journalism professor.
Okay.
So he was like, no. But he wrote,
He was
no.
all like, nah, dog.
No,
Nah,
no,
dog.
this is weird. But he kept corresponding to this Daxus guy. Daxus knew some things about the crime that happened, and it really struck with the professor. Like her runny nose that night. Like, who knew that she had a runny nose? That she was wearing underwear that said Wednesday, the night of her murder, and that she wore a bracelet when she died. So just these small little details that the police don't, tell the public, but he had knowledge of them. This professor and Daxus are corresponding. He discusses things with the professor, saying his pedophilia,
I hate notes.
Okay, so Daxus discusses things with the professor. They're talking about pedophilia. He says his favorite age in children is 6, and he liked doll-looking girls.
As we do.
As we do.
No,
now think
no, we
about
don't.
we don't.
Oh, okay.
We don't at
Sorry.
all. But think about
Asters.
when you think of a doll-looking girl, that could be a little kid in a pageant.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's really creepy. The professor asks Daxus more about the case. Daxus claimed the murder and said that he was having sex with JonBenet and accidentally hit her in the head, and that's why he died. So he straight up confessed to this murder and was giving weird details. So Michael Tracy reached out to the authorities, and Mary Lacey, who worked under the DA, she was like, whoa, red flag, saw a huge opportunity. The DA wanted to get Daxus on the line and trace him to locate him. So the DA lured him by providing him Patsy's home phone number, but he got cold feet and he never called.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is odd for someone who really wanted to get in touch with the Ramseys.
He could have read the poem to her himself.
I know.
What a missed opportunity.
Michael Tracy, who is the professor, he picked up the phone and started calling Daxus. While they were on the phone, Daxus admitted to her rape and murder. Some of these tapes were featured on the documentary that Lily and I have been researching. And they found Daxus to be in Bangkok, Thailand. His name is John Mark Carr, and he was a 41-year-old, very messed up dude. You guys. Real creepy.
In the notes it says, Carr was messed up, my dude.
Was messed up, my dude. He had a very sinister past. He was married twice. The first time he was married
Is that the sinister past that he was married twice?
I mean,
Oh,
that
no.
alone, but no.
If you would have waited.
If you would have
1
waited.
second.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I tend to go early.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. This is all I hear from Lily.
Okay. Well, we're going to have a discussion later.
Wow.
John Mark Carr was married twice. The first time he was married was to a 13-year-old girl.
There you go.
There it is.
There
it is.
In Northern California, he was a school teacher and he was arrested on 5 counts of child pornography. He was arrested in August 2006 and extradited to the United States. So he was hiding out in Thailand because of his convictions in the United
I actually
States.
remember when this happened because I'm from Colorado. This was live. This was huge news.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't thrilled, but it was really cool.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
It's
man,
cool to
this guy.
watch these things unfold.
Yeah.
So they extradite him. Also, he got a business seat to Los Angeles from Thailand. I just want to say that I get worse seats than that, and I've never committed a crime.
I recognize why he got it,
I do too.
but
So you mean to tell me
What the
all I have
fuck,
to
man?
do is confess to a murder that
you may or may not have
may or
done.
may not have committed to get a business seat? I am sick
If
of
you were in
flying
another
Spirit.
country.
I'm sick of flying Spirit Airlines. Like, come on.
Right?
Hey, Spirit,
Please give us free.
This episode is not sponsored by Spirit, nor
Spirit.
do we want it
If it's-
sponsored by
no,
Do you wanna
Spirit.
sponsor
we would
us?
we would like Virgin Airlines or Alaskan Airlines. First
anything
class.
but Spirit and Frontier
Any-
sounds great.
anything
Unless
but
they want to
Spirit.
sponsor us, in which case, Spirit
No,
and
no.
Frontier
We
are
want-
the coolest planes in the air.
We want Emirates.
Oh, the ones with the beds, like the little bedroom.
Oh, boy.
Like private bathroom.
Anyway, back to John Mark Carr.
Back to John Mark Carr.
Anyway.
So he got his business class seat to Los Angeles. From there, they get him to Boulder and they take samples of his DNA to compare with the JonBenet Ramsey case. You know, she had the blood in her underwear. So they again took the hair, the blood. The samples came back as a negative match. So he did all this confessing, told all these stories, knew all this information about the case, but his DNA did not match what was.
You know why? He did it to get the business class seats. People go to great lengths to do that.
As we learned from Jay now.
Interestingly enough.
So this left people very confused because he did know all these details about the case and they believed that he was involved in this case, whether he committed it or not. So they dug deeper, and after he was exonerated, he left the country again.
Just bounced.
Just
He actually
bounced.
changed his name, too.
He did an interview on this guy. Lily saw it. She was like, WTF? What the fuck? He felt.
Thank you for explaining what WTF is for.
Yeah.
I was trying to.
It was the weirdest interview.
Well, I was trying to,
Why use-
connect with our audiences that don't swear and that do swear.
Why
It's a
use lot
shame
word?
that they...
It's a shame they don't swear.
Yeah.
Why use lot word when little do trick?
Well, and at this point, to connect with that audience and say WTF now after an hour in,
I don't know. I'm very sleep
We
deprived.
saved that one phrase and then elaborated on it directly after.
Okay.
WTF?
So he was like, WTF. He felt humiliated and crucified during this whole thing, but he admitted to this crime of rape and murder of a 6-year-old.
And then he was ticked off. Like,
he was
how dare
mad.
you?
How dare you embarrass me and ruin my name?
How dare you?
So he had this interview, and his story has remained the same. He said that he was, quote, with her, that she died accidentally, and said, have you ever heard of an accidental premeditated murder?
Yeah. So basically, he's saying he was there, he was involved, but it wasn't premeditated. It was an accident.
It was an accident. But, like, you know, like, you think she's dead and then you just bash her over the head. Like, whatever.
Yeah, man. As we do.
He said that where she was found in the basement is not where she died, and suggested that he had an accomplice the night of the murder. John Mark Carr said that he wasn't the one who did it, that he was with her when she died, but he was not the one who caused her death.
He was very mum, though. He
wasn't
strategic.
giving out,
about how he answered these questions.
Yeah.
Which really,
honestly,
was
that is the
interesting.
smart way to answer questions.
It is. Yeah. He's been lawyered.
He has been lawyered. When they asked how he met JonBenet, he said that there are people in pageantries that work in other areas, but that he needed to shut up because he was talking too much. So we don't know what that means, but that's weird.
It was the caterer.
So while this was happening, Patsy actually died of cancer. It had spread to her brain, and she passed away in 2006, and she was buried next to her daughter.
She was exonerated after her death, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, she was. The DA actually wrote a letter to the Ramsey family exonerating them and issuing an apology.
Yeah.
Which after
like
15
15
years of just total baloney, can you imagine getting an apology letter sent USPS?
USPS. By the way, we have talked shit on your family for 15 years, but I'm sorry.
The crazy thing to me, though, is that by sending this letter, they are admitting, yeah, you didn't do it. And I mean, yeah, they're exonerating them, but they don't have any evidence that
on anything
that
else.
Really
officially on the record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all weird.
The weirdest one to me, though, really is the John Mark Carr one. He knew a lot.
That is weird.
I'm glad,
From
though.
Thailand.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Thailand. Well, he's an American, but he was in Thailand.
Right.
The good thing I would say for the Ramsey family, not that it was good that Patsy died, but if it based on the situation, how sad it would have been as her mom to see this guy kind of resurface this case and say, I did it.
And
imagine
here are
the
all
emotions.
these details of the night and of her.
Can you imagine living and seeing that when you're getting ready to die?
Yeah, that's pretty awful.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're talking about timing, it was probably better that it happened after she died, because that would have been awful.
Yeah. And this, obviously, to everybody listening, and I say obviously only because I haven't heard this, and I assume there are probably infinitely more theories and possibilities of what.
Yeah, there's more theories.
And
exactly
certainly
happened.
hybrids of these theories.
Sure, I've
Right.
got a little more left, and we'll go into that.
Because
but-
I've formulated my own little
yeah.
idea.
So in July 2008, there was a profiling expert, and he re-examined JonBenet's clothing the night that she died using something called touch DNA. And using that, they found a DNA profile from JonBenet's long johns and determined the match was a match to the DNA also found in her underwear. So Mary Lacey, that DA that we had spoke about earlier, wrote an apology letter to the Ramseys for any duress that they were put under and exonerated them. So that's a little bit of an elaboration there. And then in 2013, it was announced via a Colorado newspaper that a grand jury that was previously made to seem like they had exonerated the Ramseys. That was incorrect. And they had charged the Ramseys with 2 crimes: abuse resulting in the death of a child and an accessory to a crime. So those are significant.
They
Yeah, they
didn't
are.
actually charge them with the murder itself.
They indicted them on those 2 charges. Not
Got
the
it.
murder, but technically abuse resulting in the death
Right.
trial.
Got it.
So the grand jury believed that they were somehow involved in the death, but the DA refused to announce these charges or file formal charges against them. People wondered at this point what was going on, and it basically became this huge conspiracy and controversy because there wasn't enough evidence.
To like any theory, there wasn't.
Yeah, for a trial. And the DA too was the one that insisted on bringing in a new investigator.
Yeah.
So this investigator presented great theories, found fantastic evidence, and then all of a sudden the DA refused to indict the Ramseys despite the charges. So perhaps it was the investigator saying, I'm out, I'm bouncing, don't do that. And so the DA agreed not to. I don't know. There's some more going on that. Former investigator, the Boulder DA who worked with Mary Lacey, said that Mary's relationship with John Ramsey was very unusual, and John was often brought into the office for informal conversations.
Yeah,
and
that's very weird.
Yeah, which
to
you don't
go
do if they're formally a suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what this person said. They
And
said,
an ongoing open case.
Yeah, they said that. They said, you just don't do that. It could taint a case. It could make you not see what's actually there.
Right.
And it was known in the office that if you did not believe the intruder theory at that point, then you would be forced out of the DA. So you had to believe that. You could not believe that the Ramseys were guilty, or you were out. Which isn't great.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that is odd.
And this investigator in particular also disagreed with Mary Lacey's apology letter to the Ramseys because the touch DNA can come from many people, and said that when they took the sample, they did not use the rigorous procedures necessary. And Mary insisted on exonerating the Ramseys despite this knowledge of the DNA test's lower accuracy and reduced standard of testing.
What happened?
So it just continued.
Did the DA
just kept going.
Did the DA get a promotion after all of this? Like, where is he now? Did he go
That's
higher?
a great question. I don't know. I actually think he retired because there was a documentary we
I'm
watched.
pretty sure he did.
And
yes,
he
did
refused
retire.
to speak about this case
Yeah.
anymore.
He will not speak about it unless he is forced to by the court.
I
of law.
wonder. Is that everything? Because I'm gonna
That's
hop into
it. So it's theory time.
That is
As-
the JonBenet case, you guys.
as the resident. I know nothing.
the resident baby.
Yeah.
Baby.
Here is kind of where I'm going. So I ask that because it seems as if the DA knows the Ramseys are at least connected in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And the retirement thing, I don't know. I don't know if maybe he would have lost his retirement because of the influence of the Ramseys in the community or something of that nature.
Oh, that's a great
But
question. That's a good
It
point.
may not be that he thinks they are guilty or not guilty, or he has some sort of conspiracy behind it. It may just be the Ramseys are so well connected and he cares so much about his job that he just passes over them and says, you know, there's enough mud in the water that they could possibly,
I think that clicks.
yeah. And so the other question I have, we mentioned John Mark Carr. Who was the guy beforehand that was killed by suicide?
That was Mike.
Mike Helgoth.
Helgoth.
Both.
That's who I think did it.
Well,
Yes.
both John Mark Carr and Mike Helgoth, both situations there mention a partner.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't know if they looked into when John Mark Carr left the country and
Was
the
it after
times it
the
lined
murder?
up with the murder/suicide. But I wonder, and I'm trying to tie all of these together. The Ramseys had their Christmas Day thing. Santa Man comes
Santa
over.
Bill.
Santa Bill comes over just because it's Christmas Day, close with the family. Over late, maybe there's pineapple, whatever. I don't know that the pineapple truly has a huge impact on this. I think it's a weird blip, but it would not explain anything either way.
Yeah, because like for me, the pineapple, how was it? She just walked by the table, grabbed a piece, and just kept walking.
I think the big thing with the pineapple is
nobody remembers giving it to her.
It's a small thing. No one remembers giving it to her. Her parents were like, "No, she did not have pineapple." Yet it was found in her stomach. So I think
after
that's
her
why...
dinner digested.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Santa had an alibi for that night.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
So I don't know if he was just over there that day and then left, but I think there's a good chance that the two guys, like you said, were in the house, left the note.
John Markar and Mike Helgoff.
Right.
Yep.
Left the note, waited, killed JonBenet. And then the whole situation with Burke, I think he's so young. Obviously, like there's so much, and I have no access to the evidence, but it wouldn't surprise me. Someone so young. Yeah, weird kid, but so young. Maybe he's happy that his sister is gone because there was no attention on him. Maybe there was some jealousy, and yeah, he was aggressive.
And maybe he didn't fully understand that she was like
got
what
his Christmas
death was.
wish.
Yeah, and then he grows up.
I mean, it's true. Like kids, it takes time to develop that sense of what death really means.
And then as he grows up, he's living with this happiness that she's gone, and that's how he develops. And he's not upset by it. It doesn't bother him. He just gets on with his life.
He didn't murder his sister. He's just fucked up.
Yeah,
so along with your line, that's what I think happened. I think it was Mike Helgoff and John Markar.
So wait. So that's what you
in
think,
the
babe, is
ballroom.
that the two guys were working together?
Yeah, and that all the other stuff is just kind of ancillary.
Okay. Now, Jay, what is your theory?
I think that it was the same as Steve, is that maybe John Markar didn't actually murder her. Maybe he committed the rape, and that Mike Helgoff accidentally killed JonBenet, and for Mike Helgoff to get out of the situation, he murdered Mike Helgoff, John Markar murdered Mike Helgoff and then flew to Thailand because the extortion of John Ramsey didn't work out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like Steve said, everything else is ancillary. It's just kind of it just happened to fit, but it's not actually pertinent to the case in a sense. Some things are important, some things aren't, but that's my theory. I think that Mike Helgoff killed her, John Markar actually raped her, and then killed Mike Helgoff and bounced.
Yeah. All right, to our resident experts, what do y'all think?
Lily.
You can also say I don't know.
Because 118,000 goes a long way in Thailand.
It does go a very long way in Thailand. You would literally be a king. So I think that John Markar absolutely was there. And I go back and forth on Mike Helgoff and Gary Olivia, to be honest with you. What if it was all three of them?
Right.
But I do think that one of the two had some form of involvement. Meg and I were trying to locate it earlier, but Gary Olivia, we think this was the guy, had a daughter who was also in pageants.
With JonBenet.
And so if that's a connection there.
Which, interesting, I was watching an interview with the dad. Interesting.
Ah.
I caught myself.
And then repeated it.
Doesn't matter, it's still here.
It's still there. The dad, they asked him, have you ever seen this man at pageants? And he was like, well, gosh, that was so long ago. I really couldn't tell you. He was like, but I do remember a scruffy looking man with long hair getting very overly excited when his daughter won a prize. And he was like, I thought that was weird. And they were like, well, could it be this guy? He was like, well, maybe this guy has long hair. He's pretty scruffy looking, but he didn't know if the faces matched.
Circumstantial though. It's tough.
Yes.
But I mean, Gary Olivia could have very easily been a connection for John Markar. Maybe they were buddies.
Yeah.
I mean, but the same for Mike Helgoff. I don't know. But John Markar definitely had a partner, and I think it was one of those two idiots. Yeah. And
so you think
it could have been Mike?
You think
that's
John
why
Markar was definitely?
I think John Markar doesn't have it in him to murder someone. I
think that Mike Helgoff or somebody else, with the skull cracking thing, he was like, "Oh, perfect opportunity to see what this is."
Well, I wasn't saying murder JonBenet. I'm saying that Mike was found dead. I don't think that
John Markar
had the huevos to go in and murder this guy, which is the only reason I would say that he had to have also partnered with someone else. But with Mike Helgoff saying, I have another partner who we can split $120,000 together, He didn't say it 3 ways. There were only 2.
Yeah.
So it had to have been one other person.
Here's a question for you. With Burke, do you think Burke saw this whole thing happen, and that's why he acts so weird? He watched her get raped and murdered and was not involved, but
Like
he
knows
watched
what
it,
happened.
he knew it, and he just...
Maybe in one of the interviews he did say, and it may be the one that's on our Instagram, he said that he felt like something bad was happening. And why would you say that?
Yeah.
If you didn't really know something was going on?
Yeah.
I mean, I can get a weird feeling sometimes. Like, sometimes I'll be like, oh, I have a weird feeling
Oh,
cereal's
mine.
gone. But I don't sit there and think I have a weird feeling that someone's murdering my little sister.
Yeah.
So it's just weird. I don't know. The evidence is really messed up, so it's
all
also
over the
it's all
place.
speculation. Meg?
So I have a hard time with this because I learned a lot with the John Mark Carr thing and like that he knew all of this pertinent information.
It was verified the information was correct, right? Or was it?
It was
It
correct,
was.
and
It
that's
was
why
correct.
they brought him from Thailand because it was
Because they were like,
so...
how do you know this information that was not released to the public?
Yeah, it was
and
only in
it
the
is true.
investigatory files.
They just thought he dug very deep.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So I'm so torn because like I think that is a real possibility, and having that like $50,000 to $60,000 and then like fleeing the country.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for me and having siblings growing up, I think Burke acts just a little too weird for all of this. And I can buy the theory that he like got angry at his sister for whatever reason. Did she take pineapple from him? Did she not? Like, whatever happened, I think maybe he could have gotten really angry at her and hit her over the head and like hurt her. But that being said, like, then where did the little like taser marks come from? And then like the mom saw because she was up packing for their trip and she covered for him because, you know, well, shit, one of my kids just died. I don't want to lose the other one. So I'm going to cover for my kid and keep this quiet. So, and the reason I say that too, like I just said, I have siblings. I could never, as mad as I have ever been at my siblings for anything, I've never like wanted to hurt them. I've just been like, get out of my face. Like, I hate you.
Yeah.
But then like my mom's like, yeah, I love you.
Fair enough.
Stand there and hug for 20 minutes.
Well, and if you reflect back to our first episode, and you can check it on our Instagram story, and I think on our Facebook, you can see the layout of the house.
Yes.
And it is complicated. So for anybody to just kind of come in and know the layout and know the back staircase to put a 3-page ransom note.
Yeah, the 7,000 square foot home.
It is very strange. So that person had to have been in that home, at least while the family was gone.
Yeah, to know where things were.
Exactly.
So
It's wild.
So anyway, we don't know.
Yeah.
And it's just messed up.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We
But-
hope you got everything you asked Santa for.
Santa
I will
Bill.
say,
Not Santa Bill, the real Santa. Tim Allen.
That's crazy. I'm glad that we did this. I'm happy I learned about it. Well, not happy, but
It's just a wild story.
It's a wild ride that
It is.
we
And
haven't
none of it
learned the
makes
truth
sense.
from.
You can
No.
only
Yeah.
develop really haphazard.
right. But
Theories.
we'd love to hear from everyone listening what your theories are, because
Absolutely.
I'm 100% sure
Send it.
there are tons of people that have researched it more than
And maybe
obviously
and
more
have
than
read
me.
something we haven't read.
Yeah,
We're
Yeah.
going to solve it.
yeah, we'll be
So-
the ones to solve it.
Well, and the crazy thing is, like, yes, there's all this crazy evidence leading to these different suspects, but if Boulder had not fucked up like they had,
Yeah.
like, we could have an answer to this. We
Yeah.
could have had an answer to this in 96.
Or at least a better.
Boulder Police Department and DA.
Shame on
Shame
you.
on you.
Shame
For
on you.
shame.
Well, those of
You
the
should
time.
all
I'm sure,
lose your retirement.
I'm sure Boulder PD at this point is
I hope so.
totally different.
I hope.
Probably
It's-
not.
Well, 24 years.
I don't
It's the
know.
police department. But the same.
But yeah, reach out to us. We're, like we said, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Reach out to us. Let us know what you think. We're going to post probably another post with this one will go out with a little bit more,
Absolutely.
a couple more pictures and things. So feel free to just in the comments there. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from y'all.
For sure. So our next episode is next week on New Year's Day. So it'll be a little more haunty than we've been doing the past couple episodes, and we're excited to share it with you guys.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we've looked into the void.
And now we're haunted.
Haunted. Hi, everyone. Steven here. Just wanted to reach out and remind you that we can now be found on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and many other places where you listen to your favorite shows. If you could do us a huge favor and leave us a comment, a review, a rating, and anything you think that we can do to improve this show and make it better for y'all. We're really enjoying this, and we want to make this the most enjoyable experience we possibly can for all of you. So just leave us that rating or a review, send us a message on Facebook, just reach out, and we'd love to hear from you and see if we can make things even better. Thanks.